as well.
Are more men committing crimes than women?
When we look at the data, yes. When we look
Who
at
are getting caught, at least, you know.
who's getting caught. So I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
So yes,
Are women just better at not getting caught?
Actually, women. So let me answer the first part. Yes, when we look at violent crime, overwhelmingly, it's mostly men. However,
Violent crime, yes.
yes, violent crime. Actually, crime overall, to be fair. But where we're seeing, as we have this equality taking place, what's interesting, we're also seeing women commit more crime.
Come on.
Yes, where we see actually more crime being committed by women is not really in the violent area, violent crime. They're property crimes.
What are they
Property
doing?
crimes, fraud, money, scams.
Really?
And I'm trying to think back when I worked investigations, I would arrest quite a few women, and the crimes that I would arrest them for typically was fraud, stealing money from the government, checks, cashing, fraud, schemes, electronic crime fraud. Yes, that's where women tend to commit, when we look at the data, the most crime. Violent crime typically still at the moment skews more male, although women are definitely closing the gap. And then when we look at the male population who's represented in a prison more, we do have men. However, to be fair, is it also the mindset that when a woman goes before a judge or the court and a man goes before the judge and the court, are they going to look at those two individuals? The bias differently.
They do, I'm assuming, right? And you want to feel like, okay, we have to protect the woman maybe from what could happen in prison. I don't know what.
I think it's because we don't perceive
Could they really do this?
women as
Could you really stab this
dangerous?
person or shoot them in the face? Yeah.
She seems so nice.
Yeah, she seems so put
She brought
together.
cookies in.
She's so kind. Yes.
Well, we don't perceive, typically, I do think it's shifting, but we typically, historically, women, even if you just look at something simple as who gets away with getting a speeding ticket, men versus women.
Women.
Right? Yeah. Probably women, yes.
Now, I'm curious, you know, I've heard that, I don't know the statistic, but I've heard that women in relationships cheat just as much as men, but women don't get caught as much. Why is that? And I don't know the statistics, but that's what I've just heard. Why do you think, if that's the case, that women don't get caught as much, but still cheat as much?
You know, that's interesting. I'd not heard that. The one thing I had known is that what we're seeing more is women are more likely to file for divorce today than a man would. That I've heard. Mm-hmm. As far as lying and cheating, my experience, I've seen everybody lie and cheat, regardless of gender. People do it. So in my years and years of interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people, to me, I've seen people lie equally and cheat equally.
Really?
I will say that, yes. I've not. I think certain people may not get caught. Mm-hmm. Perhaps because you're not looking at them as much, they're being overlooked.
You're not as intuitive, maybe, or?
Well, look, if maybe you're not thinking they're as, I don't want to say that they're better liars because it has to do with the person. But if you don't see them as much of a threat, mm-hmm. you're not going to suspect them as much. You know, here's a good example. I did undercover work. One of the reasons I felt comfortable doing undercover work and I would get picked to do undercover work is because I didn't look like law enforcement. Uh-huh. I didn't look threatening or menacing or anything like that. So I was more successful.
People trusted you more and
I wasn't looked at as a threat. Mm-hmm. Oh, her? High five.
She couldn't be a police or Secret Service or
even when I would do interviews or interrogations, or even today if it's, on TV, on camera, or for the news, when I'm interviewing people, guards tend to be lower versus when you've got somebody else, maybe that's a man that's bigger in size, you're going to be a bit more, it's just how we perceive people, but it all goes back to the way we size people up. Mm-hmm. And we all do it. We have our perceived ideas of what we think of people. You meet someone, within the first 5 seconds, you've sized them up. Yeah. You make your impression of them, what you think of them. And once you make that impression, especially if it's negative, it's very hard to undo.